you guys. I've been listening. So, as a Christian person myself who believes in the Bible and reads the Bible regularly, and I, take its. I was listening, and this conversations tend to go down the route of bashing Muslims completely. And the guy here mentioned age of consent. Yeah. I would encourage you to have a look at how many child abuse cases within a Roman Catholic in the Catholic Church.
I'm not Christian though. So like
but you're bashing Muslims and talking about a child, the age of consent and things like that. I would encourage you to look at the numbers. How many cases of child abuse happens within the church itself, in the Catholic Church?
That's actually something I was going to bring up.
Yeah.
Because
so before we start bashing one religion, let's have a look at all of them.
Yeah.
And then you can make a decision, who to bash. Before, again, as a Christian person, I'm not going to be talking about Muslims like that, because I know the Christian church is full of it as well. And that's how I determine which religion is false, in my opinion. So I follow the Bible, I don't follow the church.
Yeah. Owen, you can say you don't follow Christianity, that's fine. But you've got to remember, at the time Islam was sort of created, when Prophet Muhammad emerged at the 7th century, the age of consent in England was 12 for girls and 14 for boys. So it's not just religions. Even when we go back to when Islam was created, this wasn't like an issue with purely Islam. This was a global thing.
Yeah, this also, as well, doesn't mean that modern Muslims... 1 minute. It doesn't mean that modern Muslims also don't actively acknowledge the age of consent and literally protect their children and themselves from predators and things. You understand that? I'm not kidding. Like,
but I remember Muhammad had
one of my best mates. Her dad, who I used to work with, I remember this guy was basically trying to approach her. She was 17, and I said to her, I was like, no, I was like begging her not to, basically. And then I saw him outside of work, and I got in an argument with him. Her dad came around the corner. Her dad obviously knew about something. Someone had slipped it or whatever. The dad kicked the fuck off with him. And she's like 17. This guy's like 21, absolute freak. Going through a fucking teenager, seriously. But yeah, they actively. It's important to note that because a religion might have been outdated, as pretty much all religion is,
Yeah.
We could easily say that all religion's outdated. I can easily stand on that, and but it doesn't mean that everybody within that religion then practices that. Like, literally, at the time of Islam's creation, the notion of childhood didn't exist.
Also, let's talk about the fact, as another example, in Russia, there wasn't a single age of marriage until Catherine came along and decided it was over 16, which set a precedent, really.
Yeah, I just feel like there's a difference between this and then having the Quran and Muhammad marrying a 9-year-old and saying there's no such thing.
Again, you're just bypassing every single point everyone's made. You're not.
Yeah, you just like to bash Muslims.
Yeah,
what do you think was the age of consent according to the Bible?
I've noticed something with this guy. He doesn't really hear. If you say anything, he doesn't listen. He doesn't listen to actually listen. He just hears it to respond. So it's like, yeah, you said this. I agree.
Sweetheart's here.
Oh, but it's just that. Oh, hello, Antonia. Hello.
Yeah, because you're saying because all your arguments are I knew this one guy and she didn't hand her daughter over to this guy.
Well, no, it's not. I'm giving you a qualitative example.
Okay, there's a difference between that and having the Quran say
because
literally
there's no quantitative
that
data I can provide you.
What we're not doing is talking over people. So carry on. I will just start.
I hear that. Right. First of all, I did speak over him, but it's also because he's actually choosing to weaponize what I've said, as he tried to do earlier. But yeah, it's literally. So I'm giving you a qualitative example of how, for example, plenty of Muslims do represent the age of consent and will absolutely defend their daughters, their wives, themselves, little boys, little girls from predators. They actively do that, and they also themselves will not be predators. So, and we're saying this because of the amount of Christians and Catholics who have been involved in harming children, but yet not all Christians or Catholics are also child predators. Do you understand? So that's just a qualitative example, because there's no quantitative statistical data I could give you that shows specifically how many Muslims respect the age of consent. What?
Yeah, I think it does show how little I do think it's funny. It does show how little you do know about Islam.
Yeah, it shows an understanding level, doesn't it?
Yeah, the Quran doesn't actually say that Muhammad married Aisha when he was 9. That's a different book completely.
The Hadith, which is considered
it's the Hadith, which is not the same.
Which is considered.
The Hadith is the life of Muhammad. The Quran's the word of Allah. Yeah.
So what was your point though? If they're both canonical?
I'm just showing. You do realize not every Muslim follows the Hadith, similarly how every Christian will not follow the Old Testament, how every Jewish person will not follow certain things in the Torah. I can bring like hundreds of religions.
What's your understanding of Sharia law? What do you think Sharia law is to begin with?
Yeah, true.
Well, I think Sharia law is the concept of setting up a government that Allah told Muhammad to set up.
Yeah, where did you get that from?
I've heard that from Muslims.
Do you know that Christian church has a sort of Sharia law as well? Are you aware of that as well?
It's all just like whataboutism arguments. Like you can never.
No, it's not whataboutism. It's you don't even understand what Sharia law is to begin with.
Okay, what is it?
You better go to Google, mate, and start searching.
Can I just ask, Owen, why have you brought up Islam every time if you're not religious? Why would you not bring up another religion?
Because the host
it's like Catholic Church has their own government. You've got their own government body, and if you want to get divorced in Catholic Church, you have to go to your government and say, look, I wanna get divorced, and want to come out of that relationship. So that's the Sharia law in Catholic version.
I was just
it only applies to Muslims, basically.
Yeah, I was just asking because you said like, oh, I'm not religious. You even said I don't know a lot about Islam, and yet every time Free or anyone else has brought up something, you went, what about Islam? What about minority Islam culture? What about Islam? What about Islam? So I'm just wondering why you've chosen Islam every time if you don't know much about it.
And I've blatantly said that my opening statement to what you said about Islam was like, oh, just so you know, like I think that all religion is linked in harm to some degree. People weaponize it. Doesn't mean everybody represents it. And you've chose to stick with Islam. You've specifically chose to stick with it.
Even after I pointed out, and multiple other people on this panel pointed out, that Christianity has just been as bad in the past.
But we don't need to go back to the past. We just need to look at 2024 child abuse cases in Catholic Church.
Yeah.
And you don't have to go back to the times of Muhammad. You've got Catholic priests abusing children in 2024, 2025, and 2026.
I would just like to get an answer though. Why did you choose Islam every time, if that's okay?
Because Islam is relevant to the United Kingdom since
6%
and Christianity's not.
What's the percentage of Muslims in United Kingdom in that case?
6% of Muslims are in the UK. I believe Christianity is like 50%, 40-50%. So it's not really relevant, to be honest.
Yeah, no, and besides, anyway, the UK is moving to a more secular country.
If we're going to talk about another big religion in the UK, let's talk about Mormonism.
Yeah.
The one where somebody quite literally, as someone put in chat earlier, Sweetheart put in chat, in Mormonism, somebody quite literally did marry a 14-year-old girl, and it is said in there.
Yeah, like I don't I don't understand what you're saying. Is like real quick. Islam's not really relevant considering in the House of Lords we have people dedicated to Christianity. We have Christianity lords that focus on protecting Christianity and Christian values. The king is the head of the Church of England, right, which is a branch of Christianity. So I'm not sure how Islam really comes into it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not really sure how it's relevant to the UK.
It seems to be like an antagonistic minority religion.
It's really not an antagonistic minority.
A few seconds ago, it was the majority taking over England. And now we're minority antagonizing the rest of the country.
Yeah, I'm very confused on this considering the amount of mosques that have been burned down. I don't know if you know about the Southport riots in 2024 when a person of colour unalived 3 children and suddenly all the Muslim mosques started getting attacked because people put out that it was Muslim and the racists just ran with it. So it doesn't seem to me anyway that Islam is the antagonistic religion. It seems to me that Islam is the religion that is getting the brunt of everything.
I can tell you what, you're actually proving my initial point about how a lack of diversity creates ignorance correct, and I mean everything else feeds into this as well. Because that's just a prime example. I can tell you right now, maybe if you had grown up in a more diverse area, or if you've actually met Muslims and got on with them, or just had any sort of connection with them before you got this bias about them, this sort of fear-mongering bias, then you wouldn't be in the position that you're in. Because it's important to note that the biggest thing that I fear about this country is not Muslims, it's not people of color. Well, no, I'm a person of color, but obviously, it's not immigrants. It's literally the amount of sort of white nationalist bullshit that's beginning to spread across this country. That's actually my biggest concern. I mean, we have something happen where someone's committed a horrific act to somebody else. Everybody, what's the first question? It's not the victims are okay. It's, are they white? Are they black? Are they a Muslim?
Yeah, what's the religion? What's the skin tone?
Yeah, it's always that. Literally, we have media that they have to release a report on what the person's race is before they do anything else, before they've even got the guy in fucking custody.
What's wrong with that?
What's the point Free is trying to make?
He feeds the division.
The media, because this comes back to the thing with real quick. This comes back to the thing with Southport, where everyone was saying he was a Muslim. The media are forced to publish every detail about this person, so that minority groups like Islam that are persecuted constantly in the UK don't have to bear the brunt of someone's actions that has nothing to do with them.
You're talking about the
immigrants.
What
I was saying is that the media are forced to publish articles about someone's skin color or their religion because people will assume and then go attack other people, which is racism. Or Islamophobia,
yeah, but why shouldn't they release the information to the public?
No, Free's not saying that.
No.
Yeah.
Wait, real quick, because it doesn't actually help to release that information to the public. In what ways would that help? It might help the police in an investigation if they're looking, for a particular, terrorist cell or something like that. Real quick, but to release it to the public doesn't really help anyone other to stoke hate and division.
Well, my understanding is being part, like doing a British citizenship test at the moment, going through learning about British culture myself. My understanding is fundamental right is right to fair trial. So if you're releasing that much information in the press before this person ends up in court, you basically taking that right away from everyone.
Yeah, and when they release it, I'm not saying that they should never release it, by the way. That's like...
Once the case is closed, they release everything.
Yeah, that's my point. My point is that the fact that we are in a position where they have to do that, where they have to do... Like what happened, was it in Manchester or Liverpool? In Liverpool, right? Where that person drove a car into a lot of people. Yeah, when that happened, I remember everybody instantly, they weren't like, oh yeah, the victims are okay, does anyone need help? It was, what's the race of the person? I bet that he's Muslim, I bet that he's this, I bet he's that. The guy was a white guy, and then there was no riots. When that white teenager went and raped babies in a nursery, there was no riots against white people. There was no telling white people to get the fuck out of the country. There was no deport this, deport that. So it's selective. I'm saying that we're in a position right now, because of the amount of hate and intolerance and lack of multiculturalism, that the news medias have to release that in order to prevent people of colour from being attacked.
Also, in fact, on top of that, people, when women get essayed or raped or stuff like that, they don't focus on the fact it happened in the first place. They don't care about the crime. They care about the race of the person who did the crime. If a white man did it, nobody would care. It wouldn't be on any news outlet at all. But if someone of colour did it, then everyone would kick off.
The Catholic Church thing was all over the whole world, global news forever. So,
Nekli, I'm gonna drop so you can let me mute.
I was about to say, yeah.
Doesn't that kind of defeat the point though? Like if there was a scandal with the church and white people doing it, it would make the news because that's exactly what happened.
Well, it doesn't. That's the point. You need to literally go look hard for the Catholic Church abuse. It doesn't make the news as much as...
Also, another point, in cases like SA and Grape, why does the race matter? Surely it matters that the crime's happening in the first place.
Exactly.
Because in places like India and Pakistan, there's mass assaults.
Yeah, there's mass assault in the UK.
Do we live there? Does it matter? Right, but does that mean it shouldn't matter about that? Would you rather care about the person who did it or the fact it happened?
I would rather care about knowing who did the crime.
And that tells me everything I need to know about you.
Of course.
Every little... Because you don't care that the grapes and essays are happening in the first place. You don't care about that. What you care about is the race of the people who are doing it, because most men don't care that it's happening. Because if you cared that it was happening, then you wouldn't be standing up for people like Reform or Donald Trump. Because they're the type of people who commit these crimes. They're the type of people who also don't care about this. All they care about is the race that's attached to it, and not the crime in general.
Far right people, no one would know about this.
That's ironic,
though.
I was
again,
say it's ironic as well. Wait,
hold on. Then again, you're ignoring every point I just said. You're ignoring every single point I just said, and you're bringing up race again. And you're bringing up race again.
I don't really care about it.
You don't care
because
about
my point is that my point is that the only reason that these victims and it's coming to light is because far right people are agitating for it. So that's the only reason why these
which is actively not helping, because most SA in the UK will be done by native British people. Sorry, Mimi, go on.
Thank you. Right, first of all, if in regards to the Epstein stuff and in regards to what Trump has done, if Trump was a person of color or followed the Islamic religion, or any of the people that have been prominently named within the Epstein files, there would be more uproar about it. Second of all, when we also look at, once again, SA, we have to look at the victims. We have to look at the support going for them. Out of curiosity, is it Ian, Ewan? I don't know. I don't really care at this point. What have you done to actually help protect the girls against the epidemic of violence against men?
I don't believe really. I think it's basically by me.
Mimi, he just said
no, wait, Lily,
I can answer it.
Yes, I want to see what he's going to say.
Before I was banned on Twitter, I had a very large Twitter account, and I would retweet lots of. I don't know why I was banned. They don't tell you, but
they do.
I used to always, be part of the spreading awareness. So I did my part. For sure.
You've done your part, excellent. So you would actually know that the highest perpetrator of SA is done by white men, regardless of what country it is in. The predominant is white men. So if we look at, obviously, historically, when it comes to colonization, when we also look at historically when it comes to religion, if you actually look up the amount of child marriages that happen in the US, predominantly, once again, done by white Christian men. So you want to bring up about how there are issues with grape and stuff in Pakistan or wherever. Do you actually know what the laws are regarding grape in Pakistan?
No.
Exactly. So
I don't know what happens. Amnesty International, all these people say that there's massive rape problems over there. So I don't find it very surprising that if you import
everywhere. There are and also please use TikTok for any language. There are issues with grape everywhere. As long as men are somewhere in a country, they will use the opportunity to grape someone as a point of control and also as a point of manipulation and power. You will see this happen in all countries. The common denominator here, though, is men. It doesn't matter what religion they're a part of. It doesn't matter what skin tone they have. It is men, full stop. And the problem is you're picking and choosing who you want to advocate for. You're picking and choosing which victims you want to listen to, which will never help anyone in these situations. It will not help victims. You'll make them feel worse about themselves because actually you're cause a complex within victims that feel like they are okay to be raped or SA'd by whitey Christian people or whatever. So when we actually look at grape and we look at crimes that are committed when it comes to grape in these countries that are predominantly Muslim, there actually are laws that do protect women. Don't get me wrong, there are still issues in those countries where grape is occurring. But like I said, it is happening everywhere because it's not a problem with religion, it is a problem with men.
Yeah, and that's the thing as well. I mean, you saying I think it's a particularly
Free, I want to hear what he says. Because to me, he said, I don't really care, so I'm very intrigued.
Yeah, that's literally.
Yeah, like, I mean, I understand. I just don't really believe that there's mass grape going on in white ethno states. I just don't believe that's happening. You have mass
really? Okay. You might not know about this. You might not know about this. One second.
You don't really wait, Owen.
Hold on.
You say you did your research, but
he hasn't clearly. do you know in the UK there's been a report, I can't remember what year it came out, it was a couple of years ago, but it said that 97% of women have experienced some form of
2023.
Yep, 2023. Yeah, 97% of women in the UK have experienced some form of SA or SH. Just flat out. And I can guarantee you, and you're saying this because you come from a very kind of privileged perspective, but like majority of women, if not all, at some point in their life will have something happen at the hands of a man that makes them uncomfortable in a sexual manner. I can guarantee it. I'm
Not
sorry,
all men, but all women have a story.
Everybody. Literally, every single woman has something or knows someone. If it isn't you, you'll be connected to somebody else who's had it happen easily. You can be the most isolated person in the world. As long as you know a woman, it's probably happened to her. Yeah. It's probably happened to any woman who you know. It's probably happened to any woman who you know. So for you to think that it's not on a mass, for you to say that it's not on a mass, to not only dismiss statistics but also to completely devalue the reality of victims. It's such a big, massive problem. Grape culture is a huge problem on a global scale. And if you really want to go particular with race, if you want to go particular with race, it's white men who are overrepresented in the UK rape statistics.
Ian,
sorry,
wait, really quickly, Ian. I actually have a question for you. Where in the US, and I'm assuming you're from, because I can kind of sense a US kind of accent, but I could be obviously incorrect if that's the case. But where do you think the majority of SA crimes are committed in the US?
Donald Trump's house.
No. Wait, guys. Ian, answer the question. Where do you think that they happen?
I think per capita. I don't know about per capita, but obviously,
I'm not asking per capita. I'm asking you statistically where.
Texas.
No, not the state.
I'm gonna guess in Eskimo areas.
No.
Eskimo region.
No, it's in. Wait, no. The most common place where SAs take place in the US is universities. And do you know why they're occurring at universities?
Oh, okay.
What?
Well, like I said, I'm not a big believer. Like I'm focusing on real.
Are you about to say you want to focus on real problems?
Hang on. By the way,
hold on.
I need to pick up on the real, Lily. I need to pick up on the fucking real.
Yeah, I was about to say, does he think? Were you trying to say that SA and rape of women isn't a real problem?
You've proved us right.
Is that what you were about to say?
I'm trying to focus on real essays and real SA. I'm trying to focus on real SA, not.
Yeah, okay. So what you're doing is undermining definitions to make other people who are grapists, by the way, look better. You are part of the problem. You are actively going and saying, hey, I'm going to put these people in a different category. No, anyone who essays someone is a piece of shit.
Yeah. This is
you guys get very
you
guys get very up in arms over this. I'm trying to say that.
Hold on. Yes, I'm sorry, but yes, as a lot of the panel on here are women, and you undermining SA and grape. Yes, we're going to get angry about it. Yes, we're going to get annoyed about it. Do you want to know why? We're going to get angry and annoyed about it? Because it affects us directly. The people we know, our friends, our family, everyone in the world, it directly affects women. Say yes. No, don't talk over me. Say yes. Women are going to get angry and shouty about it because you're undermining experiences of people we know. And that proves what.
Do you know what's crazy? Do you know what's crazy? Ian, Ian, you are the type of person. No, Ian, you are the type of person to pick and choose a perfect victim, right? I'm going to give you two scenarios that have actually happened to me that I've had to seek professional help about because of obviously it's disgusting and what happened to me. I have been essayed by two different men, right? One was a white man and one was a man of color. If I was to tell you that, you would care more about from the man of color than you would the white guy. That is the kind of person you are. You pick and choose your perfect victim, and it is disgusting.
In fact, hold on. I have a serious question for him. Do you think it's SA if one person's drunk and the other's not? And the drunk person says they consent. Yeah. The drunk person says they consent. Do you still think it's SA if the other one's not drunk at all?
If the other person's like blackout drunk, yeah, I agree.
Okay.
But I guess, but like I'm trying to draw the distinction between something like that is not the same as like being human trafficked. You know what I mean? Like there's a little bit of
illegal violation.
Yeah.
You do also realize actually there are many SMEX cases of trafficking happening once again in universities as well, where girls are taken advantage of once again by men, not just men of color, not just men from the Muslim faith, men, right?
Honestly, I think whenever we're talking about university situations, I think those are a little bit blown out of proportion because it becomes like very subjective. Like the girl,
how is it subjective? Well, because it's not your perfect victim.
Can I answer?
No, because it's not your perfect victim.
Mimi, it's because it's not a perfect crime. It's not a perfect crime to him. That's why it's not the crime he deems worthy.
So my essay that happened when I was essayed in university, that doesn't count.
Well, hang on. I think you're missing also that one leads to another. If you let catcalling just be a norm within a society, then it's not far off from letting someone, I don't know, slap someone's ass, which is not far off someone actually touching someone who's drunk in a nightclub. The culture, the culture of misogyny there directly has impacts on the way you view things like SA, which so far you haven't been very likely to condemn at all.
You have to be aware. You have to be aware of the differences, I guess, between sexual harassment, SA, and then unfortunately, obviously, rape. There are different categories, but one is not one without the other. They do lead to that culture.
They all go hand in hand.